Last week, 100 sharks fought to the death with deadly lasers, and it was glorious. This week, I've got 5 suggestions that are equally tied. We've got Buckaroo on a sleeping Jacob Rees-Mogg, a teeterboard game where you can do some cool flips and jumps, a gang of raccoon robbers, a wrestling game between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and a game where you play as a ghost and scare little children. So like before, I've written up a quick little script that's going to give me a random number, and then that random number is going to give me a random game. So let's run this and see what we get. Today I am making the Jacob Rees-Mogg Buckaroo game. Okay. So the actual phrasing of this is Buckaroo on a sleeping Jacob Rees-Mogg. Now I think there's 2 ways to interpret that. We could either be playing the game Buckaroo upon a sleeping Jacob Rees-Mogg, or what I imagine the intention is that Jacob Rees-Mogg is the buck that we are buckarooing on. I haven't played Buckaroo in a very long time. I'm going to have to remind myself of the rules. I think basically there's a horse or a donkey, you place items on it, and then it bucks and throws them all off. So I think that's what we're going to be doing to Mr. Mogg. So just in case this YouTube channel has actually gotten a little bit bigger and there's anyone watching this from outside of the UK who doesn't know who Jacob Rees-Mogg is, he's a British Conservative politician. He is an absolutely vile, despicable excuse for a human being, but people like him because he talks in a kind of caricaturish British accent, and apparently talking in a funny accent is the only thing you need to do to get into power in this country. Mr. Mogg has kindly given me a perfect reference to use by falling asleep on the job like the absolute professional that he is. So here is my version of Mr. Mogg. I've done different parts of his body as different objects, so I'm hoping that'll allow me to give him a kind of breathing animation while he's sleeping, and then also when we pile things on top of him, we'll be able to give him an animation where he wakes up and chucks everything off.
Sleepy, sleepy, awake! Sleepy, sleepy, awake! Sleepy, sleepy, awake!
What we have here is a kind of Jacob Rees-Mogg sprite sheet. So I've now got Mr. Mogg up and running in Unity. You may be able to see he's got quite a subtle little breathing animation there when he's asleep. And if I press the space bar, wake up Mr. Mogg! So the next thing I think I need to do is create some objects that we can put on top of Jacob Rees-Mogg that he can then fling off like Buckaroo. I've just Wikipedia'd Buckaroo, and there are 12 objects in that game, and there's things like a cowboy hat, a frying pan, a stick of dynamite. Now I don't think these objects are suitable for Jacob Rees-Mogg. We're going to have to come up with some stuff that's more suitable for him. Black Lives Matter flag, gay pride badge, he wouldn't be caught dead without that, some sparkly rose-tinted glasses, big old clown nose, can't have the nose without the hat, Peppa Pig doll, a little earring, Spider-Man watch, a book so he's got something to read, some roller skates, and a banana for potassium. Looking good, Mr. Mogg. If anyone's wondering why I keep calling him Mr. Mogg instead of Mr. Rees-Mogg, it's because I don't care. Shut up, I know what an array is. It's 1 o'clock now and I need to take a break. I've just been trying to code it so that you can click on these items and drag them over and drop them, but I'm getting all sorts of errors and it's not working. I will have to come back to that very soon. I am now back, so I've sorted out the problems I had, so I've now got it that you can click on items and you can bring them over. You can't drop them on top of Rees-Mogg yet, but what I've got is a nice little kind of half-alphaed image showing you where you need to put it. I'm trying to get the that image to flash, but I can't seem to do it, and I'm going to have to move on and maybe come back to that later. Okay, so now we can put every item onto Rees-Mogg. What I have just done is set up an animation for every item to get thrown off him, and I haven't tested any of them. This took me quite some time to set up. I'm really hoping this just works first time, but I won't be at all surprised if it throws a few errors. So we've got every item on, and hopefully when he wakes up... Okay, Peppa Pig's doing something weird, but that was mostly okay. Right, that's done now, so you can put the items on him and he can fling them off. What I need to do now is work out what exactly it is that is going to trigger him to fling them off, because I believe in actual Buckaroo it's just random. I might be remembering that wrong. If I just make this random, that'll be some Mario Party nonsense and that won't be very much fun. What I need to do is somehow relate the care in which you put the item on to whether he responds. I don't know quite how I'm going to do that. Maybe there's a way to measure the speed of the mouse or something. I'll have to have a play. So I put a system in now that I think works quite well, where if you drag an item over him quite fast, he'll wake up. So you do need to be slow when you place the item. And what I'm going to do is decrease the amount of leeway you get each item you put on. So the more items you put on him, the more likely he is to wake up. Unfortunately, what that seems to have done is broken some of the items. So, for example, this badge, I can still put the badge on him, but if I try and give him the pig, he is having none of it. Take the pig. Take the pig. Take it. Take it, take it, take it, take it. I've worked out why. It's because I was using a box collider to detect when the mouse was close to him, and when the box colliders are overlapping, it doesn't like it, so I'm going to have to actually define that area in code, I think, which is going to be a bit of a pain. Because Mr. Mogg is a stupid lanky twat, I've had to define his area in 3 boxes, like this, which I've now done in code, and that's working. It is 20 to 5, and the code for the game, the actual game part of it, is now basically finished. It's quite fun. It's not going to win Game of the Year, but it will do. So now I want to improve the graphics, I want to add some sound and basically juice things up a bit. I want to redo Mr. Mogg's face, actually, because I think I've done his chin a bit too broad, because the original photo I was looking at was kind of like this, and the shape was all wrong. So I'm going to try and sort that out. So as I am actually a trained actor, I've just done some voice clips for Mr. Mogg here. He's just going to utter while he's sleeping. I can't seem to get his mouth moving though. I've made a little animation, but it won't seem to run. I've got his mouth moving and I've got the flashing working. Oh yeah. It's 20 to 9 and I am done with Moggaroo. So that one came out pretty well, I think. It's quite different than anything I've done before. It actually really reminds me of like early internet flash games, like the kind of thing you would find on newgrounds.com. I'm not super keen on doing political things. I'm generally of the opinion that entertainment and politics should stay clear of each other, but I think this one's fairly harmless. I think particularly with something like this where I am doing it in a rush, if I'm doing anything even remotely political, I really want to consider what I'm doing, and I don't have time to consider very much at this point. I mean, the coding that I'm doing in these games is not good coding. It's all, you know, if I just spent half an hour before I started thinking about it, but I don't have half an hour to start thinking, or at least I don't want to spend half an hour thinking about it. So thanks very much. I'll put a video of it now. If you could leave me comments for next week's game, that would be super, super helpful. And if you want to click all the things, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, that's cool too. Thanks very much. See you next time.
Money. Yes. Yes, Mr. Johnson. Yum, yum, yum. Your Majesty. Yum, yum, yum. Money. Yum, yum, yum. Yes, Mr. Johnson. Yes. Yes, Mr. Johnson. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Money. Yes, Mr. Johnson. Yum, yum, yum.